Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are here talking about Once Upon an Upside again. And we kind of have a new strategy for Once Upon an Upside that we're going to be doing going forward. And today we are talking about the Happy Camper. It's going to be really fun. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Natasha's here.
Hello.
And Bree is here.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Are we the new Upside crew? We're the Upsiders?
Yeah, that's absolutely. Well, what we kind of decided to do with Upside is instead of covering every single Up movie, we decided we'd wait until one comes that we really like, and then we'll kind of do a deep dive into that one and talk about it, maybe mention some of the other ones or what have you. And I think this is going to be just a lot more fun and enjoyable to cover. And I think it's going to be a good way going forward.
Yeah. So I will say, like, their flirty February lineup does look fun. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe. Yeah,
we'll probably have another episode coming up pretty soon. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
If you don't hear from us again, you know what happened.
No upside to the Upsiders, I guess.
Yes. Well, I mean, in this one, the Happy Camper, it kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize that until I just randomly decided to give it a shot. It has Daniela Bobadillo and Bo Warwick, and I love them from the show The Middle, which was a show that I loved, and they actually met on that show and got married. And so I was very excited to see that they were going to be in a cute little rom-com together.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that piqued my interest. And then it's kind of fun too that it is based on a book by Melody Carlson. Had you read this book, Bree?
No, but as soon as I saw Melody Carlson, I was like, didn't Rachel and I talk to her? So I Googled her and I was like, oh, I have heard people talk about the book. And then we had her on to talk about another book. So I was like, that's super cool. I don't know if she like wrote the screenplay for the movie as well or what, but it was cool to see that.
It doesn't have the the teleplay adaptation writer. It just says, all it says on IMDb is Melody Carlson novel by. So we don't know who the screenplay was written by, but the summary is: when Dylan's love life falls apart, she returns to her grandfather's farm in Colorado, where she works with Jordan, a handsome hardware store owner, to restore a vintage 1960s travel trailer, and along the way finds new love. So overall, Bree, what do you think about this one?
No, I thought it was fun. I thought it was different. Guys, I am obsessed with like campers and stuff. I don't know what it is about me. I think it's like I have like a story idea in my head that involves like a girl like doing like supper clubs, and it has a camper involved. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. I thought it was cute. I don't know, Natasha, you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Overall, what do you think, Natasha?
I think I was expecting more, I guess, because they're married. So I was like expecting, I think, a little bit more. I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Did you want like more chemistry or what? Like, what did you? Okay.
But it's like what Joey from Friends said, right? It's like when things are happening off screen, nothing's gonna be happening on screen.
Well, I've seen that a lot of times. I've seen a lot of times married couples don't have chemistry, but I thought these two did. In fact, sometimes I feel like that comfort level that you have with each other sometimes reads as sort of bland when it cuts on screen. And I think maybe maybe that slight awkwardness of not actually being a couple actually sort of gives a little bit of add something to the chemistry, which is strange. You wouldn't think
that makes
so,
sense. But I mean, everybody can't be Alexa and Carlos, everybody can't be them.
But I thought that these two had had good chemistry, and maybe part of it is that I was just rooting for them because I like them so much, and I haven't seen them in much since the middle. So I was very happy for them. And they have a YouTube channel where they talk about how they met and everything and their romance and everything. It's really cute.
That's cute.
On the show, because she played kind of I think she was Sue Hex on the middle, her kind of ditzy roommate, and then he played the brother of or he played the best friend of her brother, of Sue Heck's brother, and they ended up as love interests, Sue and I forget his character, but Beau's character, I forget his character's name. But if you want a show that, in my opinion, like, I loved the show. I thought it was so well written. I think it was very underrated as far as Emmys and all that stuff going, but it did last. It had a good run. It lasted, I think, 9 seasons. And the final episode of the middle, I won't spoil it for everybody, but it was, I thought they nailed it. It was a perfect finale. And it has mostly to do with Sue and I can't think of his name, but the character. Really great ending for that. And Sue was an absolute brilliant character, played by Eden Shear. I absolutely loved her whole performance from the very, when that show had great child actors. All 3 were really good, but I loved Sue Heck. And anyway, it's a great show, and I really enjoyed both of these actors on the show, and it's just cute that they met and they had their love story. And I think with this movie, it is pretty basic as far as the story. There's not like a ton of things new here, but I thought that the dialogue was pretty good between them. There were some nice moments for the characters, and I thought that they did have really good chemistry. So it was a fun little hidden gem, in my opinion.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
What do you think of, it starts out with her boyfriend standing her up at this dinner, and it turns out it's Woo Woo is the name of the dinner.
Isn't that what the Sims do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's woohoo.
Right. And he's like shredding everything. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't like completely extricate herself from this person. Like, I mean, this has white collar crime written all over it. but yeah, what did you think of, I think Brandon was the name. What did you think of him as the wrong guy? What do you think, Bree? I think it was fun.
I thought he was fun as the wrong guy. I was like,
Yeah.
girl, he is clearly he's not into you. No, it's like he's using you clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really did great in that role, I think. Oh
Yeah.
God, I hated him at the end. I hated him at the end.
Yeah, that proposal was so cringe.
Gosh,
He's
yes.
like,
And
no.
then he like tells on himself. I was like, thank goodness, you just told on yourself.
I like how she had to ask the waiter if she whether or not she was like thinking about it. She's like, "Am I with the wrong guy? He keeps standing me
Like,
up."
right, girl, he's like an hour late. Why do you even have to ask?
And the waiter was like, "Yeah." The
Yeah.
waiter was smiling. He was like, "Yeah, he's the wrong guy." I was like, "Dude."
And the guy at the table behind her, they're both looking at her like, this is a pathetic question. I love that
Yeah.
moment. It's so true to life. Like, we know the answer, but we have
Yeah.
to hear it from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such a classic kind of Hallmark-esque type thing where you have, the bad man of business, like ultimate bad man of business here. He's shredding documents. He's like, and then you have the hometown hunk who is the man with many jobs, who's good at everything, good at fixing everything, knows how to do everything.
Yeah.
The ultimate contrast.
All those memes of like, we're all getting it wrong, ladies. We all need to go to a small town. That's where the love of our life is.
Yeah.
Thanks to these made for TV movies.
Yeah. Well, and when Brandon says later on, he's like, you need to come back to Portland. And he's like, this is where I'm from. This is what I love.
He's like, the rest of the world is moving on. This place is not.
I also thought it was funny when he's like, don't say the F word. You're not getting fired. You're just having a vacation from being employed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really the tipping point for her seemed to be the fact that he gave her an envelope of cash. Like I that would be, I don't think that would be my tipping point. I'd be like, oh, well, at least I came out with something.
Yeah.
But I guess it made her feel cheap, which I guess I understand.
But she's the talent, we learn later on.
So if anybody out there has been fired listening, just know that it's just a vacation from being unemployed.
Right.
Just being a vacation from being employed. I thought that was funny. And so she goes home and she says, hello, Margot, to her mom. And this was, I thought, actually a pretty well done plot thread throughout the movie. Basically, her mother left her with her grandparents, and because she needed to, quote unquote, find herself. And so she is really bitter about that. She's really resentful about that. And she says that her mom has to earn being called a mom.
Yeah.
What did you think about that, Bree?
At first it was awkward. I was like, what is going on? Because we don't have a lot of context at first, but I thought, like I like you said, I thought it was a really great plot thread. And I just think, because we learn eventually, like, her father died in Iraq serving. And so her mom was probably living that like mom military wife life. And then you lose your spouse. So you're no longer a wife. And she probably had that moment of like, what am I outside of now being a war widow and a mom? And like, agree with it or not, like, I'm sure plenty of women experience, like, what is my identity now? And the sad part is that the child was, left behind, but she was still loved. She has a great relationship with her, her grandfather or whatever. But
Yeah,
I know that we don't always want like those tough plot lines in our made for TV movies. And I think we've been seeing more like hard mother-daughter relationships in movies lately. Like, I know Hallmark had some last year, but it's like, it is true to life. Like, everybody's relationship is not perfect, and especially mother-daughter relationships. So I appreciated it. What did y'all think?
And this worked for me, whereas like the Christmas Village one did not work for me because they were just so hateful and arguing. Whereas this was more like simmering, kind of thing. And it came to such a nice conclusion. Like I felt like both. It's pretty hard in this kind of movie where you have such small time amount to have a character arc for a minor character like they had with the mother in this movie. And it wasn't as off-putting as some of those other films that, like, for the Kwanzaa movie as well, where it was just like, I'm tired of listening to these people argue. It wasn't like that for this, so it was more palatable to me. What do you think, Natasha?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's one of the stronger story threads throughout. Um, I like the way he kind of helped her with it as well, like the part that he had to play in, that whole
Yeah.
relationship. So I thought that was a really nice, I think, addition to the story. Because I think a lot of times when there's tensions between like mother-daughter or familial tensions, right? Um, sometimes they have a contrived way to resolve it. But I think in this case, it came from a very natural place of like, magnanimity, right? You gotta have to be the bigger person, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
you just have to kind of like step outside of yourself and just let go of the past, right? Even if it's difficult. So I thought
Yeah.
that was like really relatable and
Yeah.
quite resonant. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So she meets Jordan at the beginning asking for directions, and that has sort of a meet cute there. And then she goes, she finds out she gets the camper from her grandpa, and then she goes out looking for things to help with the camper. And that's when they have like their real meet cute. And what I kind of loved about this movie too is that it's nice when in a movie when our lead characters are like instantly attracted to each other and like gone from the moment that they see each other. And I felt that here, that like very early on he's just like, oh, and like pretty early on they also are both very concerned about wanting to pursue each other, right? And then seeing these roadblocks, which actually don't end up being roadblocks, but they think they're roadblocks. And so they're just clearly into each other from the very beginning, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
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 My husband was watching it from beside me.
Oh,
And
really?
when and he was like, the moment like the Jordan guy looked at her, he was like, that dude likes her.
Yeah,
And I was like,
that's what I'm
Aw.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, okay, clearly you're watching
Swoony
this as
moment.
well.
Swoony
Yes.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, there was lots of good moments with the mom. I thought it was just like a little fun character plot that she's vegan and trying to like get the grandpa to eat all these vegan food.
It made me think of like growing up watching Clarissa Explains It All, and her mom was always serving tofu with everything. And I was like, oh, no, sorry for everybody out there that's vegan. Okay.
Like I don't, because my two of my siblings are vegan, and I don't mind like the actual vegetable
Right. I love
meals.
veggies.
What I don't
Yeah.
like is this like plastic meat stuff.
Yeah. No.
No. Fake meat stuff. I don't like that. Or like tofurkey or no.
No, my favorite one with her mom was like, oh, she gives her card or whatever. And she's like, buy yourself some candy. And she's like, what am I, like 5?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That
in
was
her eyes, you are
funny,
still
yeah.
her little girl. You're still her
Yeah.
little girl in her eyes. Get yourself some candy, girl.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
would be psyched if my mom gave me $5 to
Get some
I'll be like,
candy.
yes,
Me too.
we are eating good today.
Yeah. Candy and wine.
That's funny. And I also thought it was really funny that they like immediately put her to work. That's very Hallmark-esque, old school Hallmark-esque. Like that you go back to your hometown and they immediately make you the choir teacher or something. But
And
she
you're the
was
annoying
legit.
mom in the crowd that's like, my daughter has like the lead singing or whatever. And it's like, girl,
Yeah.
shut up. She's new. Okay.
Yeah, but she whoever wrote this has been in choir before, because they knew that bubblegum song.
I thought it was the year thing or something.
What's that?
The when she's like, put your ear to your shoulder,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
mom's like, what's that gonna do with anything? I was like, oh.
Yeah, you do all those kind of vocal exercises when you're in choir, like red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff like that.
God, I haven't been in choir in years.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
She's a natural teacher, of course, as our leading ladies always are. And so again, when I was saying about like immediately, she is like very interested in this person because she sees him with his niece and nephew, and she's like, wait a minute here, he's married. Oh no. And and they have this conversation. He's like, by Janelle, you mean my big sister?
Yes. I mean, we had maybe 10 minutes of time where she thought he was married, and she was so rude to him.
And you would think that since there had been that miscommunication, you would think that when he thinks that she has a boyfriend, that he would then be like, okay, wait a minute, she thought I was married, so maybe there's a miscommunication here too.
Yeah.
But no, he's immediately like, what? I don't date people that I don't pursue women that have boyfriends.
Yeah. And the writing was just so great during that time because like it just made you realize like everything somebody says you can interpret as them flirting with you.
Yeah.
She's under this mindset of him being married, and it's like, girl, you are getting it so wrong.
Yeah. I also just thought it was super cute that they sang the trolley song from Meeting in St. Louis. Bang, 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 at the trolley. Like, this is my kind of kid choir.
They were adorable.
They were really cute.
Yeah. That was really an enjoyable performance, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I would love to. I actually pursued to see if I could get an interview with them. It might still work out. I hope it still works out, but
fingers crossed.
But it seems like this was a really fun movie to make. It seems like it would be a fun group, I'm sure. Paint the camper.
Lily.
Yeah, Lily. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good name for a camper.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
Yeah. But I'm with you, Bree, as far as campers go, because I don't like sleeping on the ground. So camping in tents is not for me.
Yeah.
I need to have some kind of I'm too old for that stuff. I gotta have something.
And her mom's like taking over her childhood room. So her grandpa's like, I don't want you sleeping on the couch. Like if you can renovate it, like it's yours. Like I would rather you be comfortable and sleep here. Yeah. So that was sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. They really did have an attention to detail. I forgot about that with the mom taking over her room. A lot of movies wouldn't have that kind of detail of like explaining everything about why she's in the camper.
Why. Yeah. Usually in Hallmark movies, I mean, I know this is an Up movie, but like usually the heroine goes home and her childhood bedroom looks exactly like it did when she was a teenager. And I'm like, I don't even remember at this point what my childhood bedroom looked like. Like my family's moved so many times. Like this has not happened.
Yeah, mine too. Like that's one way I don't really relate to a lot of these type movies because they are like so attached to the childhood home kind of a thing. But that's not me because my parents moved so many times that I don't really have any place like that.
Yeah. Shout out to them for the attempt at the fantasy, because wouldn't we all love to go back and still
right? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Natasha, about the camper, the camper?
Oh, I love the camper part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love like all the whole painting, the decoration, like those parts are really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and it provided a lot of moments for them to be together.
Yeah.
And then also the cute moment at the end with the axle and everything. And so that was fun. And so then Brandon shows up and he tries to paint. He's in like this hazmat suit.
He wasn't. You're right. I forgot.
He's so enjoyable though. That's the wrong guy.
He's the wrong guy.
He is. And
I don't know, guys. I cringe when the boyfriend shows up. I'm like, I feel like it's kind of a cheap plot device, but it's like, well, he is like still kind of in a relationship with her.
Yeah, so. At least in this one, he's in it for quite a while. He doesn't like show up for the last like 5 minutes, propose and
correct.
Like,
Yeah.
so I thought it was a little bit better handled here, but yeah, this guy, he's pretty cute. Like he could be leading man, I think.
He could have,
Yeah.
he could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is, but he was good. He did
Yeah.
a good job. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I'm liking seeing more fresh faces, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like the OGs are great, but give us more fresh
Yeah,
faces.
his name is Kier Kierkegaard. That is a
Okay.
name.
Maybe we'll see him in something
wow.
else.
Yeah. Good for it. Good job, Kier.
Alliterative.
Yeah. But yeah, that was funny when he comes back and she says to him that you gave me an envelope of cash. I'm not that kind of girl. So that was a good moment.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe I am that kind of girl because I would have taken the cash and run.
The
But
way
anyway.
eggs are expensive these days here in the States, I would have taken it.
So then they end up going on a date, which I love in these movies when they take the time to have the characters actually go on a date. Because a lot of times they forget that. They'll just have them like working together a lot or, planning some, town festival or something. And the fact that when they take the time to actually have them go on a date, they were going to go on this dance, but then they didn't end up going to the dance. And I really liked that you see her like getting ready and she's like trying extra hard to look cute, putting on lipstick, all this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't feel that bad about not going to the dance because they say, oh, we're both terrible dancers, which is kind of fun because then the movie ends with them dancing, which I thought was kind of a fun callback. And they end up just like talking in this Jeep or whatever car it was.
And kissing.
Yes.
With the windshield wipers.
I thought the scene was so well done because, he's saying, what's up with you and your mom? And he listens to her, he respects her choice and validates her, says, I can understand why that would be hard. And basically he says that you should think about giving her another chance because people in my life have given me 3-4 chances and I'm grateful for it. And then she says, I don't think I've ever met anyone who thinks of people that way. And that's when you get the kiss. It was I thought a really good scene.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
Don't forget the romance in the romances, you guys.
And it would have been easy to make that a near kiss, but I'm really glad they made it a kiss because I just think it helped to kind of escalate everything and their romantic tension and their investment. And they were so obviously from an early stage very interested in each other that it made sense to kiss at that moment for their characters.
Yeah, it did.
What do you think, Natasha, about that scene?
I think I agree with you in the sense that they had built up their relationship enough such that it made sense for them to kiss at that point. The one thing I didn't like was the blinding lights.
Okay.
It was like
the lighting was a little,
no one was good at those those lights, and I was just like, oh man. And I think I wish it the lights kind of, I was just like, oh,
I could see that.
why is it like
and the windshield wiper.
Yeah, they pan out so you see the scene of the kiss with the front of the car and the windshield wipers and so that was fun.
It's still a cute kiss.
Yes.
I don't know why I felt like this director was so excited to try like all these camera angles.
Yeah.
Like there's like really some strange camera angles and I'm like, so I think this director was like really like excited.
Trying to, you're right. Yeah.
It's true. He was going for it. And these movies are known kind of infamously for their bad lighting. And I get kind of used to it because I watch so many of them. And a lot of times it's not until one of my friends from film Twitter that doesn't normally watch these movies then watches them and they're like, what was up with that? Like extremely harsh lighting. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what they say about the whole analogy of of looking at something from the monkey cage. Like when you're in the monkey cage, it smells normal because you're used to it, right? But when you aren't in the monkey cage and you go into the monkey cage, it smells terrible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Get it?
like that
Yeah.
in movie
Wow.
world.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
And then, so they've just had this experience, and so she goes, and her mom's up and asks us, "Oh, you look so pretty," and everything. And so she makes up with her mom and calls her mom. And that was, I thought, really sweet and just added to the importance of this relationship, because they had just had this moment talking about her mom, and then she goes and makes up with her mom. Her axle is broken on the trailer, and then he ends up using his axle to bring her
Yeah.
camper,
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
to the thing.
Unbeknownst to her, she doesn't
Mhm.
know. She
She
just
doesn't
knows
know.
that he fixed it. She
Yeah.
knows he fixed it.
We also get this montage, I guess, of this guy singing Bear Bailey, and I guess he's like a real singer. I would look him up.
Mhm.
He's a real country singer. So at the camper show, and all of this kind of show just does definitely it felt pretty legit. They did a good job, I thought, of like recreating this kind of show.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I was like, this probably really happens somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I
And the
forget.
campus looks so good,
Yeah.
right? I was like, ooh, I want to see more.
I know. I want one of those. I mean, my real dream would be to get an Airstream, because I think
Me
they're so
too.
cute.
They are
But
cute.
but they're so expensive, of course. But yeah, these were all really, really nice. And he says, "You look like a happy camper," and she's like, "I am."
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Gotta
and
have a reference to the title.
yes. So we haven't talked about Vivian yet. What did you
Uh-huh.
think of Vivian as sort of the other girl? What do you think, Bree?
She was annoying. She just
So
had to
she
be
served the
there. I don't know.
purpose.
Yeah. What do you
just-
think, Natasha, of Vivian?
I thought she played her role well. I mean, I think Brandon was a bit more funny, I guess.
Yeah.
She was more annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think she did her role lah. She's the obstacle, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I like
Yeah.
the whole 20% thing,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think wasn't much of a discount. So that was funny. So that whole interaction, like even before she knew that Dylan was a competition, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt
Yeah.
like, did you all feel like, okay, so we had her ex I just thought it was, I guess Vivian, like she lives in the town. So of course, like his ex is still gonna be around or whatever. But I was like, I don't know. I had a moment where I was like, is this too much attempt at conflict? Or do we feel like her conflict with her ex is not enough? So let's also throw in his ex being there. And I hate that moment of like, you just come around the corner as like she's trying to hug him and you walk away fast enough
Yeah.
to see that it doesn't work. I'm like, come on.
No, I do agree that that's kind of a cringy trope, and especially in this relationship where there'd been so much of that kind of miscommunication back and forth, like, and at least at the end he says, "I hope you know me well enough to know that this was all
Yes.
her and not me."
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that made it like that made it like more, I guess, palatable. But I agree that they probably didn't need Vivian. I think there was enough with Brandon that they could have just left it at that, because I don't think you needed it to be equal on both sides to have another
Right.
person. Yeah.
Right.
And he immediately was like, there is no us. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting little thing that she likes. Dylan likes licorice ice cream. I was like,
Her
gross.
teeth were like
black.
black. I was like, no.
What
What a detail.
I feel like I would refuse the role if I had to eat licorice ice cream. Gross.
Sorry for fans of it out there, but no. I mean, hit us up and tell us why you love it.
It's
Do you
one
think
of
it's
those
legit licorice ice cream?
I don't
Maybe
know
they,
what
like,
else would
dye
get
it or
that
something.
color. I mean, it was black.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe just food coloring and it's like
Maybe.
vanilla.
That's true. That I guess they could kind of cheat that way, but why do it at all? Like,
Yeah.
what's the like? She could have been eating anything. Like, it didn't add anything to the story. It was just kind of this
When girls are
quirky
sad, we eat
camper.
ice cream.
quirky camper.
We eat sad when we're ice cream as girls. It could have been cookie dough. It could have been mint.
Yeah.
We had to do black licorice.
I think black licorice is one of those things. It's kind of like cilantro. You either like have the taste for it or you don't, like in your taste buds.
Yeah.
Because some people cilantro tastes kind of soapy to them, and other people it doesn't. So I think black licorice is sort of like that. Because my mom likes it. She eats it. She eats tons of it. I can't stand it. It's terrible. But I don't know. It was just like a funny moment of like her teeth are completely black, and then you see her like,
Yeah. Definitely would not eat on a date.
no. And then she finds out about the Axel thing, and then they're at the barn, and she had said earlier that she had this sort of dream of like dancing in the barn, like where you could see them through the window of the barn. And so that kind of comes back around, obviously, this ending scene. She gets her dream, and the grandpa like sets it all up. So
I was gonna say,
like,
thanks to the grandfather.
Yeah.
Yes. Grandpa did a solid for her.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't even get his corn dogs. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We didn't see a single corn dog in the movie.
And so then they talk and they clear up both of the things because Brandon had proposed. We didn't really talk about that, but yeah, that was super cringy because the investor, which no investor would do this. This is insane. But the investor says, I'm not going to invest in your product unless Dylan is behind it, is working for it and involved. And nobody would care. No investor in their right mind would do that. They just care about the product selling and making money. Like, they don't care about.
Yeah.
What?
yeah.
That's insane. But nevertheless, that's what happens. So then he comes and he proposes in front of everybody, which I think I would say no, regardless.
In
if somebody
front of
did that to me.
everybody. She should have been like, no.
No, even if I was interested. You do it in front of the like whole town, I would be very upset.
This reminds me of when a friend of mine proposed on a yacht to his girlfriend at that point, and she said no because she felt he could do better.
Yeah.
So she's like, this is a learning point. And I was like, wow. So it's like people, friends and family on the yacht, and he's like down on one knee, and she's like, I think you can do better.
I love that. I love that energy.
Did they end up getting married?
Yeah. So
they
he did
did?
do better.
He did
I
do
guess
better.
so. I don't know. I just would want it to be more intimate than that.
Yeah.
I feel.
You don't even like this town. You've been talking trash
Yeah.
about it the whole time. And then you have the nerve to propose to me in front of everybody. Like, no.
Yeah, I agree. It was cringe. And you could tell that it was only he wasn't doing it out of real love.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a proposal should never be like a true surprise. Like, you might, the moment or like when it actually happens might be a surprise, but like, I feel like 99.9% of the time you should basically see it coming. Like, we're at this stage, we know
That's true.
It's
That's true.
time. It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's like a shock, that's usually, I would think, a bad sign. Proposal.
You just stood me up like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Why would I say yes? Are you
And
going to show up to the wedding?
Yeah. And so they clear up all the misconceptions that have happened, miscommunications that have happened between Vivian and Brandon, making things difficult. And it's cute when he says, there's another woman and I haven't seen her since we were kids. She kind of turned my life around and I'm trying to tell her I'm in love with her. So, and then she says, I love you too, Jordan.
Oh,
It's like,
Aw.
oh, so good.
swoon. Yeah.
And they're
swoon.
dancing and you see that it pans out and you see them in the window just like she had dreamed. So I thought that was very sweet.
That
So,
final kiss proves that they are married.
yes.
Right? Because he does this little thing where he does this, like this
Yes.
shoulder thing, and
Aw.
that's such like a married
Uh-huh.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
that was
yeah.
good. Yeah, and even the way that he like held her was very intimate. Like,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Yay. I loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes you think
See,
about the scene a lot differently. You're like, yeah, you guys are right. You're right.
Yeah, I won you over. You both were kind of like, eh.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was a good start to February for sure. So
Yeah, we're excited for Flirty February for the rest of it.
flirty. So do you like flirty February better than Loveuary? Because
Definitely, for sure. I like it much better.
Rachel likes the flirting.
Yes, I do.
flirty sounds fun.
I
It
mean,
sounds like we have
yeah.
fun stuff to look forward to versus like
It's like,
Loveuary.
Yeah, Loveuary. It sounds like a disease, kind of. I don't like it. Like I've got Loveuary. But it's a good time to be a romance fan because Hallmark Loveuary started off super strong. I absolutely loved that first movie, Sweeter Than Chocolate, which we talked about, Bree, in talking about the book. I loved that movie, and the whole rest of the slate looks great. And then
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this, so it was a
I mean,
great first week of February for me. That's
so
for
we
sure.
have we have a Paris proposal. Let me see what Up TV has this weekend. Gosh. Did you all watch? They had one, Finding Love in San Antonio. I haven't recorded. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it.
I'm trying to
I did
see-
watch the Princess one, and it was disappointing. I felt like it had such potential. I was hoping.
Yeah, I didn't watch
would
that
be-
one after you told us not to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
yeah.
acting was poor, and the story just wasn't very good. And I don't know. I didn't think it was a very good romance. So it was just
Okay, our next Up TV is Luckless in Love, and it premieres Sunday, February 12th. And then Hallmark is A Paris Proposal, I think, with
Yeah.
Alexa. So it'll be a good weekend.
Yeah, let me look at this. Luckless in Love. Dating blogger Winnie writes under the pen name Luckless and goes viral for a post about a bad date with a sports agent. When her boss offers Winnie her own column, she has no choice but to keep dating Holden for content.
Will we
Interesting.
be back with a deep dive? Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope. My fingers are crossed.
Yes. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. Let us know what you thought of the Happy Camper. If you got a chance to see it, we would love to hear your thoughts. And Natasha, where can people find you?
Hello. So you guys can find me on culturedvouchers.com. We have lots of great stuff. We do film, TV, books, games, wrestling. So it's a fun time. So check us out.
Great. And Bree,
And
what about?
and Lit My Soul.
I was about to
My
say,
Twitter.
where's Lit My Soul? Don't be leaving it out.
Yeah. Well, what
Um,
about you, Bree?
I'm Bree unabashedly on most of the socials, the TikTok, the Twitter, the Instagram, and then I co-host the Categorically Romance podcast.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. I'll put the link for all of our Upside reviews an episode in the description, so make sure you check that out. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. Really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group, which is a lot of fun. And we have our patron watch along coming up with the stars of Meeting Mr. Christmas. It's going to be super fun. Madison and Greta are going to be joining us. We're going to watch the movie on the 16th. So you don't want to miss that, and many other great experiences being a patron. And we have the merch store where we have some fun Valentine's designs. So take a look at that. And thanks to both of you. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.